Good morning, Las Cruces. This is The Big Show on Hot 103. I'm Trinity.
And I'm Joey.
And we have a very special guest with us this morning on the air. We have Duncan Roy, and he is a part of Sex Rehab with Dr. Drew Pinsky, another amazing show on VH1, and we are really excited to have you this morning. So good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning to you both. Thanks for having me on.
So I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of questions for you when it comes to sex rehab and what actually it entails. So why don't you tell us about your experience on the show and why you decided to be a part of it?
Well, why I decided to be a part of it was that I was already dealing with sex addiction issues, and I'd been sober from drugs and alcohol for 13 years, completely dry for 13 years.
Amazing,
and what had happened was that I very slowly but surely transferred all of my addictions from drugs and alcohol into sex, pornography, intrigue, masturbation, all those kind of things. And I don't mean just like, getting home from work and looking at porn. I mean not going to work for 3 years and just hanging out in my house and crafting a day around my internet use. So, I mean, that's what I was getting involved in. I then started to deal with that situation, and I got a call from the show saying, would you like to be on it? And after a bit of toing and froing, I said yes. So, and as a result, my life has completely and radically and fabulously changed. So, I'm a very happy recipient of the sex rehab love that I got.
I've heard of sex addiction. I think most women would think it's more prominent in men.
Well, I think it is. I think you're right. I think it is most prominent in men. Okay. Women are prone to love addiction because they're more emotional. Men are more sort of carnal. So, but obviously it works in both ways. I mean, I've heard men talk about love addiction, and I've heard women talk about sex addiction. You know, it's not exclusive, but as a general rule, that's the way the cookie crumbles. So, but for sex addiction in men is a debilitating and overwhelming disease. You know, you've got people like Steve Phelps, who very bravely recently owned up to being a sex addict, and then you've got people like Elliot Spitzer and Bill Clinton who didn't stand up and say, you know what, I've got a problem. They just they lied, and that's Bill Clinton is a very interesting sort of example to me of sex addiction. Even when he knew that everybody knew what was going on, he still said, I didn't have sex with that woman. He couldn't bring himself to admit to his addiction. So I mean, you've got like people in the public eye who will let sex addiction becomes a more revealed addiction. You'll see that those guys needed help rather than the Republican Party booting them from office.
So you said you went through a period of 3 years where you didn't work. When did you realize during that 3 years that maybe that was a problem, or did you even realize that within those 3 years?
Yeah, I realized it was a problem when I felt the same way as when I had given up drugs and alcohol. When drugs and alcohol are killing you, you know it. You feel it. You realize that you've lost too much weight. You're really a mess. And then I got that exact same feeling one day on the internet, and I thought, do you know what? I'm dying here. I am dying. If I don't get out of here, I may as well be dead. And so that was the point when I escaped the internet and escaped the house and got help.
Do you think the internet made it a lot easier for you to become addicted to sex?
I love your questions. I've been on this radio till this morning, and you know what? That's the best question. The internet is one of the harshest and most difficult things to get away from because we've got to have a relationship with it. All of us in the modern world have to have a relationship with it, and yet you're only 3 clicks away from being arrested from seeing something that you shouldn't see. You know what? The darkness in men's souls means that they're always very interested in seeing the things that they shouldn't be seeing. So you've got this terrible thing on your desk, this portal to this very dark world, which can take you very quickly into places that you might only have fleetingly thought about, but then you end up seeing right there, and then sooner or later the Fed are going to be, the FBI are going to be knocking on your door and dragging you away from your life. So, the internet for a lot of people is a blessing, but for some people it's a curse.